Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with allthingsbbq.com, and this is Tarte Tatin. Well, it's the perfect time of year to be cooking apple desserts, and if you're gonna cook an apple dessert, you might as well cook one of the best, Tarte Tatin. Now, if you're not familiar with Tarte Tatin, what it essentially is roasted apples cooking in a caramel sauce in a cast iron skillet that's covered in a flaky puff pastry. Now, once it's fully cooked, it's inverted so that all those apples and that caramel just soaks into that pastry. It's a beautiful thing. So let's start out by doing a little work on our apples. So for this project, we're gonna need 6 to 8 apples. I've chosen some assorted apples from tart to sweet, but all of them are nice and firm. The easiest way to peel an apple and also to get these things to stand up, which we're gonna need to do, is to take the top and bottom off just like that, and then we'll peel all of the skin off once we've finished leveling these. So we're just gonna take the skins off of all of these. Again, we'll do all of that all at the same time. And then once we get through the peeling, we're gonna halve them and get the cores out of there. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut these right down the center. And I'm gonna take a teaspoon and just dig out that core and those seeds. And then one last thing, just gonna make sure that we get all of that out of there. Cut the stem and anything that's left on the bottom so it's fully cleaned up. All right, so these apples are fully prepped now. They're ready to go into our 10-inch cast iron skillet, and we're just gonna arrange them upright. We're gonna put a lid on this and cook these until they're tender. And that's even before we get to our caramel sauce and our puff pastry. We might just try to squeeze as much as we can in there, and we end up using 7.5 apples. Now, we're not just gonna leave these to cook by themselves. We're gonna top them off with a little sweetness. I've got 3/4 of a cup of maple syrup, and then we're gonna include about 1/4 cup of bourbon. And all of that alcohol will cook off. You're just left with some of that really nice bourbon vanilla-y flavor. We're gonna throw our lid on here and head over to the grill. Today we're cooking on the Napoleon P500 gas grill. We've got kind of a unique setup for an indirect cook. So I've just got one grate set up in the center of the grill while my 2 outside burners are on medium low. The 2 in the center are completely off. So we've got an indirect cook going for about 350 degrees ambient temperature. Well, apples have been roasting for about 45 minutes now. Just starting to check the tenderness. Some of these are a little bit more firm than others, but there are these pieces like this apple here that's starting to blow out on the side. So before we let that happen, we're gonna go ahead and pull these off because they're in a pretty good spot. So now we're gonna take these apples, just gently gonna take those out of the skillet and transfer them to a plate. One of the great things about this recipe is if you want to, you can do this a day ahead and cool these apples all the way down. You don't have to keep them hot right now. In fact, they're gonna cool down a bit as we prepare our puff pastry. Now that liquid that the apples were cooking in, I'm gonna strain that off, get any solids out, into another skillet, and we'll reduce this down into a glaze that we can brush onto the apples at the very end. Now we're gonna move on to our puff pastry. Now, true, authentic, scratch-made puff pastry is quite intensive, especially if you don't have some specialized equipment to get it done. There are some cheater versions you can make that are somewhere in between puff pastry and like a pâte brisée pie dough, but we're gonna go even easier than that today. We're just using store-bought puff pastry. But I do have a couple of tricks that are gonna help you get the most out of that store-bought puff. So this is what our store-bought puff pastry looks like. One of the things I like to do is really try to get some extra layers out of this. It's by itself, one of these sheets is probably not quite enough to cover exactly what we need for this recipe. So I'll double it up, and then you just get even better layer of that puff pastry at the end. I'm gonna take off some of this excessive flour because I need these 2 sheets to stick together. And then I'll look for the side that has the least amount of flour on it, and we're gonna put those 2 sides together. I'm even gonna add just a little bit of cool water to the surface to help them stick together. We'll put that right on top. Then I'm going to go ahead and fold this over. I'll go ahead and get some water here too. Then I'm going to go ahead and take this in half here, and we'll stack that as well. So we're creating layers, and that's what puff pastry is all about, layers upon layers. And now that that's kind of stuck together, I'm going to take my rolling pin, and we're going to start by just pounding it out a little bit, and then eventually rolling it into a shape that'll cover the entirety of that 10-inch cast iron skillet. At this point, we can use as much flour as we need to make sure everything keeps moving. I know I've got enough puff here that I don't even need to bother to try to get this into a circle shape. I'll just have some scraps and I'm okay with that. But once I've got this about to where I think it's going to cover what we need, I'm going to grab a 10-inch skillet and we'll check it. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. I'll expect a little bit of shrinkage here because as we stretch this gluten, it wants to retract back. So we'll go just a little bit further, and then we're going to let this relax before we actually cut our round out, just to make sure we get the coverage we need. So giving this a little bit just to relax, just a few minutes. It's definitely shrunk back a little bit. If we check our pan, we are still in good shape. So I'm going to go ahead and set that down. I'm going to come right along the edge, just give myself, I don't know, half an inch or so clearance. We'll cut around this pan. Lift this off gently, finish making those connections right there. And we have got a nice thick layer of puff pastry. It's going to go on top of our apples. Well, for now, it's going to go on some parchment paper and hang out in the fridge until we're ready for it. Now, while the puff pastry is cooling down, chilling out, and relaxing, we're going to make a caramel sauce on the side burner of the grill. So we're going to start with a tablespoon of corn syrup. This just kind of helps prevent some crystallization. It's not necessary. You can go straight white sugar if you want to avoid the corn syrup. And then we're going to sprinkle on top of that 1 cup of white sugar. Kind of try and distribute it evenly. And then if you want, you can go ahead and add some water right now too. It sort of can help prevent you from scorching it because the water has to evaporate before the caramelization happens. But obviously because of that, it also takes a little bit longer to caramelize the sugars. So we're just going to work over kind of a low to medium low heat, start to see this simmer and caramelize. So cooking away over low heat, the bubbles start to get bigger, then we start to get that browning, that caramelization happening. And now we just want to make sure that we don't take it too far. So it won't be much longer now. It's going to have some carryover cook to it, but we are going to kind of slow that down with a bit of heavy cream and bourbon. And we're just about there. I'm going to go ahead and add some whiskey barrel smoked salt to make a salted caramel here. I want about a teaspoon, and I'll let that start to dissolve into the sugar. Oh yeah, we're getting right up there. So we don't want to go much further than this. I'm going to go ahead and turn the heat off. We're going to add in a 1/4 cup of heavy cream slowly. And then we'll go ahead and add a little bit of bourbon, about a tablespoon of that bourbon. And that's it. That is our bourbon salted caramel. This caramel's cooling down just a little bit now. We're gonna go ahead and finish it off with a couple tablespoons of butter. Completely off the heat now. And then we kind of freeze that color right at that nice dark, rich caramel. Not too dark, not too light. All right, so now that we've got the caramel done, we're gonna add our apples back to the skillet. I'm actually gonna flip these over so that they're as soft on the tops as they are on the bottom. Try and squeeze them all right back in there. Last two right in the middle. And we're ready for puff pastry. Go ahead and remove that excess flour now. And then before we place this on top, I'm just gonna dock it with a fork to create some air holes so that we don't get steam building up and puffing in one particular area. Now this is gonna come right on top, but we're not gonna leave it to cover the edges. We want it down inside because we are essentially making now like an upside down cake or an upside down pie. So we need this to have kind of a rim around it to catch all those caramel juices, apple juices when this comes off of the grill. There we go, looks nice and even. Let's head back to the grill. All right, so still working indirect here with the outside burners on, the inside off, but we've cranked these up a bit to reach about a 400-degree ambient temperature inside the grill. Our Tarte Tatin has been on for 1 hour now. We've got great browning and puff from that puff pastry, just the right amount of bubbling or coming around the edges from the caramel. Let's take a look. Yeah, so that looks beautiful. Check out this bubbling down here. All that juice, that caramel bubbling together. That's exactly what we're looking for. So while this thing is still hot off the grill, we're gonna turn it out of the skillet and onto a platter. Just be really careful not to burn yourself when you're doing this. There could be some caramel flying as well. How beautiful is that? Wow. Look at that caramel. All the apple juice just sitting down in there. Left over, I've got some of that liquid from earlier that we cooked the apples in that was just maple syrup and bourbon. Reduce that down until it's nice and shiny like a syrup and use it to glaze the tops of the apples. So we've let this considerably cool down. Unfortunately, this is not something that's easy to slice into when it's hot. So you've got to let it chill a bit. I mean, we haven't actually chilled this down, just room temperature. But we're gonna cut a slice out of it now and see how we did. We lost some apple on that one. All right, we're gonna top it off with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. Maybe just a little bit more of that syrup. All right, I'm gonna dig into this and get a taste. I like that our apples still have a little bit of texture to them. Want some of the crunch of that puff pastry, a little creaminess of the ice cream. Oh man. It's just warm enough that that caramel syrup is just, it warms as the ice cream cools. One of my favorite things about desserts are different textures and temperatures going on at the same time, which is why ice cream is such a great choice with this. I think this is best just above room temperature, though it's certainly easier to slice at lower temperatures. But caramel, apple, pastry, this thing has everything I want out of your apple dessert. And it's not overloaded with cinnamon or other spices that maybe we use a lot, maybe a little more than we should this time of year. So for me, it ticks all the boxes. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out allthingsbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoy the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to allthingsbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.